Okay, so today I wanted to make a connection between Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell with the women in my area and what I feel like is a growing trend with these modern Western women. Um, and so you guys know about Epstein, how he's a creep and a pedophile, and somehow he infiltrated um, powerful circles, people in high places, the higher echelon of society, the decision makers, um, and somehow all these people turned out to be just as vile as Epstein, and so they confided with each other. Somehow he was able to blackmail them, right? Or that's as far as I know. And I don't really what is it? I don't do too much research. I'm not too invested in his whole story because at the end of the day, I'm lower middle class. Uh, you know, paycheck to paycheck, struggling to survive. So none of this is it does affect me, right? Because it's good to be at least be aware that this is what the governors, the senators, the politicians are doing. The people who are in charge of supposedly helping society and the communities around them. It's good to know at the very least that this is what they are, right? Don't ever be fooled into thinking that most politicians are doing it for the good of the people, right? They all have vested interests. It's money grabs. Maybe there could have been a time where you would have argued that people became politicians to make a change and have a positive um, impact. But more and more, you're seeing that that's not the case. Anyway, we all know the gist of Epstein, right? And we all know that he was with Ghislaine Maxwell. Um, I'm not sure if what the relation is exactly, or are they engaged? Was it just boyfriend girlfriend situation? Was she just his secretary? The point is that she is the second in command, right? And this is what I feel like a lot of people just, or actually, especially women, they kind of point the finger at the patriarchy and they blame men. But you have to understand that at least from what I know, is Ghislaine was the mastermind behind all this. She was the one, boots on the ground. Actually trafficking these minors. So I think she's just as guilty, right? And you see them in their disgusting pictures. They're all laughing, and all is well. Um, like they wouldn't hurt a fly, but they're evil under all of that. But what I'm trying to say is that I see the same thing in the sense that the women, they always they're the ones who are the honeypot. They're the ones who lure women into this filth. Um, you know, and so going back to what I was saying about how this is what modern women are becoming, is because I live in a very liberal city. And you see the trends of how women are becoming more liberal, and how a lot of times you'll hear women talking about how sex work is real work, and they push all of this, because they fail to see the forest for the trees. I think that's a saying, right? They don't see the bigger picture. They only care about their own interest. And yeah, most of these women, they turn 18 and they can benefit financially from lonely men. And even that is evil, because you're faking some kind of a relationship. And the women's argument is, oh, it's on them, they should know better. And that's true, right? So the men who pay for these services, even though I think it's an addiction, and I do have some kind of empathy for that, yes, those men are responsible. But at the same time, the women who engage in all this are also responsible, right? And for some reason, society likes to blame men, but women get an easy pass, right? As an example, where I live, you have these laws where let's take prostitution, for example, where sometimes the police, they do investigations on a known location like a hotel or a motel, right? And when they start questioning these prostitutes, they may give women a sentencing or whatever. They get reprimanded somehow, right? But it's always less than what the pimps are doing. I'm not saying that the pimps are innocent. Obviously, they need to get sentenced and all this stuff. But it's funny to me how both of them are doing it, right? Both of them are engaging in prostitution, right? It's kind of like, okay, yeah, it's evil for these guys to be pimps and to be kind of, in a way, profiting off of this, but women are choosing to do this stuff. A lot of times women are choosing to be prostitutes instead of working at McDonald's, right? And I think it's kind of messed up how women don't have that same accountability. But anyway, what I really wanted to talk about was how there's a lot of women who are married, by the way. They're married, or they have a boyfriend, and the boyfriend or husband mentions something like, hey, I would like to have a threesome or whatever. And I see this a lot where select guys who are married, in this website called FetLife, you'll see it a lot, is they'll go to these sex parties, and all of the women flock towards married couples, right? And they get used and ran through by these select guys. I'm talking maybe 10 guys get to use hundreds of women. And it's the same setup, right? It's all these wives are miniature versions of Ghislaine Maxwell. They will they're more trusting. Women trust other women. And it's funny because if a guy were to do this by himself, everyone would call him creeps. Everyone would say, oh, why are you taking advantage of women and all this stuff? Why are you just using them for sex? But when women are the ones who want to have casual sex, when women are the ones who organize these orgies and stuff like that, oh, they're just being free. They're just untethered modern women. They're trying to just enjoy their life, right? When women do it, it's just innocent. But at the end of the day, it's the same result, right? Because, okay, you can have your fun and you can do that if you so choose. That's fine. But I am not going to want to court a woman who engages in this kind of lifestyle, right? I'm not going, and this is the dangerous part, right? Because again, all the women in my area have done some form of stripping, right? And it's funny, right? They even call it, they're starting to call it, oh, they're dancers, right? Is like, this is what they all do. They just try to mask and change the optics, right? They don't care about the effect, right? It's like, the only reason why they don't call pedophiles, let's say, extravagant extroverts, right? The only reason why women don't do that is because men are also doing that filth, and so, they don't want to. They want to continue to shame men, which again, in that situation, yeah, go for it. But what I'm saying is that women do something like, let's say, being a stripper, and they want to call it dance, just dancing. Oh, it's not bad. It's in and of itself, right? Intrinsically, being a stripper, I don't think it's evil or any of that stuff, right? I'm not going full cultist, Christian and stuff like that. But what I am saying is, it does have consequences, right? Or maybe, see, that's the thing. If you want to live your life alone, or if you want to have trouble in dating, or if you're okay with the loneliness epidemic, if you're okay with the gender wars, if you're okay with men not trusting women, therefore making it more difficult for you to find a husband, then none of this matters, right? What I'm saying is cause and effect, right? You normalize this type of behavior, women being strippers, women saying, "Oh, it's just sex work. Sex work is work, just like every other type of work." Then inevitably, right, men are going to react, and usually what we see is that men don't like women who do that type of shit, right? And if you're okay with that, that's fine. Then go continue to be a ran through slut, okay? But I see all these women who are crying and complaining about being 40, being 50, never having a real relationship, always in situationships, always hooking up, because no one, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, you can't love someone with that type of lifestyle. Why? Because it signals that you are for the people. And this is what, all these women, again, stuff like polyamory, ENM, ethical non-monogamy. Non-monogamy means you're not monogamous, which means that you, in general terms, you have multiple partners, right? And I think I forget the distinction, but one of them says that, okay, you can have multiple emotional connections versus you can have multiple non-emotional connections. Whatever the case may be, again, it goes back to the same mentality of these women who think, oh, I'm going to be polyamorous or not, whatever the fuck. And it's good because I'm going to have one guy who's my mechanic, one guy who brings the BBC, one guy who knows how to cook for me, and basically she's just creating a list of servants, right? And again, it's material. It's me. What can I get out of it? It's never the mentality of, okay, if I have 3, 4 guys in my rotation, in my polyamorous bullshit rotation, that means that I have to serve, or I have to placate or whatever. I have to split my energy into 4 people. No, women only see it as a one-way relationship. Is she's just going to take all the benefits from these guys, and she doesn't care that she uses one guy for business and one guy for to emotionally dump, and one guy for fun. And she doesn't see how that's unfair. You see what I'm saying? But if the roles were reversed, right? And women are like, "Oh, this guy is just using me for my body." You know what I'm saying? Then that is going too far. So there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of double standards. It's an entire mess. But I don't want to get too much into it. But you know, fuck. What was I gonna say? I had something. Oh, fuck. Basically, it's just chaos, right? But what I'm saying is, you have to see the link. You have to understand that women are not innocent in any of this, right? Women create all of these problems that we're having. Back in the day, the reason why, women had to be chaste, right? The reason why you had the future husband, right, the boyfriend, talk to the family, talk to the mom and dad, ask for her daughter's hand in marriage, stuff like that, is because these people who are your family, they have usually they know better, right? They try to help. But it's more of control and protection for women, right? Because that way, we don't have this what is it? This winner takes all situation. Right now it's an unregulated dating market, and what does that create? It creates an environment where obviously women are hypergamous. Right? And there's nothing wrong with wanting better, right? But the problem arises when you get too close to the sun and you end up being a lonely, miserable cat lady, right? So you have all these women who are trying to get the attention from one guy. Hundreds of women are sleeping with one guy. They're giving all their attention to one guy. I'll give you an example, right? In every single last one of my warehouse jobs, we're talking about hundreds of people employed there. You would all have all of these blue pill simp men fighting for women's attention, but none of these girls took them seriously, right? Yeah, you could be in the friend zone. Yeah, you can help me move my IKEA furniture. You can take me on a date, pay for my dinner. You can do all this stuff. But once that date is finished, she goes and she hooks up with Chad and Tyrone. And women, right, they know the game. Why do you think they hide their body counts? Why do you think they get mad and they say, "Oh, there's no such thing as Chad and Tyrone"? Because it reveals their hand. It reveals the scheme or the plan or whatever you want to call it. And the thing about it is that women understand the play-by-play, right? But they do it anyway because they don't care, and because it's been working for many generations, right? The only difference between these modern women and before is that the internet makes it more visible, right? There's records, there's video calls, there's text messages, there's your Facebooks, your dating apps, all of the above, right? And so it's the same thing with if you notice, there's more women who have been found guilty of grooming their students and you know, all that weird pedophilia with the teachers and the students that's going on. Where do you think all the stories happened before, right? You've heard the stories, but why are we seeing it more out in the open now? Is because women are more they're more cunning, right? So in the past they got away with it because it was harder to catch women, right? And so now what we're having is the only reason why these women are getting caught is not because the woman got caught, is because the student got caught. The student got caught with text messages from their parents, or else none of this would have happened, right? So what I'm saying with this example is that women have been getting and sleeping with Tyrone while in relationships for many, many generations, right? This is why they continue doing it, because they see that these you know, these trusting simps are like, oh no, my wife is loyal to me. You know, they don't know that she got ran through last night. They don't know that she has 100 bodies. You see what I'm saying? They don't know that, you know, she's flirting with the work husband. You see what I'm saying? So a lot, basically, to end this video, because it's what, 20 minutes. What I'm saying is, everyone puts their attention towards the Epsteins of the world, you know. And yes, get them prosecuted, lock them up, raise awareness, all that. But a lot of people just conveniently forget and leave out the Ghislaine Maxwells of the world.